Sometimes we would do a little bit of the dangerous things. Like one day, Doc was climbing up the Nando's sign like a coconut tree. That is so Doc.
Dude, this thing's 20 meters high.
She's 20 meters tall, Paul.
Dude, I'm fucking lifting. Dude.
Coconut tree.
3, 2, 1. All right, boys and girls, welcome to episode 24. Today, we are talking about why you should crush your 9 to 5.
Yeah, we're massive proponents of, if you actually want to be great in life, we need to work hard at our jobs. That will give us the opportunity to turn out to be like an actual specimen. So this relates with last week's podcast about moving out of home. It helps you grow and mature. So to set the stage with this podcast, let's just react to this new TikTok video that we just made. It's our very first TikTok video. It's about Jordan Peterson.
Let's go, boys. Very first TikTok video. Come on, boys.
Let's go.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Oh yeah, let's watch this TikTok video. It's really well made. Let's check it out.
You should push yourself beyond your limits of tolerance in your 20s to find out where it is. How much can you work? How disciplined can you become? Like, can you work 12 hours a day? Can you work 8 hours a day? Can you work 3 hours a day? Like, flat out. Where's your limit? And how much work can you do, and how much socialization? You should find out. Push yourself past and then back off to that point where it's optimally sustainable. It's good to think about that as a goal. It's like you're trying to discover what your limitations are when you're in your 20s, so that you can hit that edge, so that you can sustain yourself across the decades. And so, yeah, you don't want to have too much fun, right? Too much fun takes you out. It's not fun being the 40-year-old at the singles bar, precisely. So you want to make sure that what you're doing is age appropriate, and you want to push yourself in every direction that you can, but you should be doing that with an aim in mind. It's like you're trying to make yourself into a better and more competent person. And so some discipline along with the fun is a good idea.
Let's go.
Let's go, Geordie Pete.
JP.
The big takeaway for me is it really seems like he's talking about when you're young in your 20s and all of that, and you're just starting to get a job, you really need to push yourself to find your limitations, to actually learn about who you are. What are you actually capable of? Like, where can you hold your standard at? And if you really want to be great in life and you really want to push yourself, well, you got to start young, so then you can have that compounding effect of building that character from your job. And then all the great opportunities, we can, especially in our field of personal development, everybody's talking about, just reading this book and now an expert. Like, the best thing about having a job is you can actually get whatever you've learned from those books and actually apply it straight away. And if you want to be successful at anything in life, it's always built with teams, like working with other people. So that's why it's so important to take your job seriously. Like, how often do we find, and we were in those shoes when we were young, we would always think like, I'm not going to work hard at the job. Like, why is the job always, and you always complain about, this is not on my job description. Why is the boss pushing me so hard and all of that? And if you're thinking that's hard and you think you want to be great at life, those things, they don't align at all.
That's the thing, like, with what he's saying. He's like, find out how hard you can push yourself. Find out.
You don't know.
Most people go into their job and they're like, I already know where my standards are. I can't do this. I can't do that.
Johnny Boy said it best in his podcast. I said people never reach to find their limitations.
Yeah.
So they always, they put those roofs or those limits on themselves.
Yeah.
So they never know what they're truly capable of.
Yeah.
I remember we had the story before, like someone at Nando's, we won't mention the name, but they said that they reckon they're going to be the next Steve Jobs. But everything they complained about, it's too hard to do this.
Was that Augustus?
No, he complained about absolutely everything, But we got to have the right perspective on life that, man, if we're entering into a job in the age of 20s, it's going to be a low level job. It's not like you're a high executive at Google, running some crazy new small startup within Google. That's the crazy shit. That takes a lot of skill, a lot of character, a lot of knowledge. So to think that your job is hard, you're already setting yourself on the back foot.
With just a little bit of respect. Mate, you got no skills. You got nothing when you're young. You are literally useless other than you cost nothing. So use it as leverage to be able to learn.
And what we loved about Nando's was it gave us the opportunity to be able to test out many different roles within a business. You know, you start off as the dishwasher, right? And I remember the first shifts that we had as dishwashers. 3 hours felt like an eternity.
You'd be watching the clock.
Then eventually you start to learn how to actually love the job. Dishwasher actually became like a fun job. It's like you're at a war against the dishes. They're coming in another wave. It's like Lord of the Rings. You give a little scrub and a clean, and then that wave's done. You know, and then you know, you start going onto the back kitchen. You're cooking and all of that, and then you can talk. You can be front facing with customers, learn all of those people skills, working within the team, and then you have the ability to become a manager and all of that stuff. So that's why it's so important to work hard at your job, because you get more opportunities. As you get more opportunities, you get more skills. With those skills, they directly translate to whatever you're going to do, you know, past that initial job.
There's always that period as well where you're looking back at the dishes after you become some sort of team leader and you're going, fuck, I might just go sneak in the dishes and just relax around here. Because like once you have the perspective of, I guess, how much harder other things are, you're like, oh, that's really easy.
Yeah.
If everyone could have that perspective whilst they're doing that thing, then everything would be easy, wouldn't it?
And for a lot of us here, we have like younger siblings that we really want to help. And, you know, like with my younger sister, I'm telling her it's really good to get a job like that where it sucks, you know, at like a fast food place, because right now she's working with my mum in a nice, easy gym, getting paid really well by mum. But she just has this thing where it's like your mum's saying to do this, this, and that. And she's getting paid $30 an hour, but she feels like it's too much. But I'm like, man, you don't know how easy you've got it. You don't have the right perspective. If
She's saying it's the job's too hard, or
yeah, she thinks the job's too hard. Like whenever mum says like, oh, do this extra thing, right, it's actually like a tiny little bit extra. And she just thinks, man, like, how come at day one we weren't doing that? But like, I feel like saying, trust me, my sister respects my word. I told her, trust me, if you're working for me at Nando's, the workload will be 10x whatever mum's doing, minimum 10x, you know? And then like once you go through that and you're just providing so much value at that workplace, you start to get addicted to it. Man, how good of a human can I be? You know, then everybody starts to love to work with you, and then you start to become like a figure that people want to be around.
I think on a time frame basis as well, it's like when you first start working, you're always working those 3-hour shifts, 4-hour shifts. When you start, I guess, excelling and doing well, you start working those, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-hour shifts, and then you're like, okay, well, this is actually what real work takes. This is what real work is. And you look back at those 3-4 hours, you go, how the hell was that even hard? I remember when I first started, my feet used to hurt after 3 hours. And I used to play sport and shit like that, so I wasn't unfit. Like, I was a fit guy, but my feet used to hurt. And then, as you move up, you work 16 hours and you're like, I don't even need to sleep. I don't need nothing.
Yeah. If you can look at your first job as like, I don't know, a game or something, rather than like something you have to do.
Yeah. How can you
it makes it
level
so
up?
much more fun.
Also,
Because
$30.
you're trying to, I think the most important thing is that you're trying to find out how much you can push yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to find out. That's the key word. Just because,
And like in Rich Dad Poor Dad, the father was like, hey, you can work for me, but I'm not going to pay you anything. So you get trained. If you want to do something in life, eventually you're going to have to work for free, and you're going to have to build it. And then eventually, if you put in that hard work, something down the line will come.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you get addicted to that. I'm worth $30 for this amount of work, which is like 10% of a normal job. And then if she wants to go to a different place, she's probably going to quit now because she's like, oh, but working with mums was easier and I got more money, which is not the point. That's why I was like very bullish on Nando's for all of us when we were getting paid minimum wage, especially under 18 when the rate's like, can't remember what it was, like $12 or whatever, right? That's great because it's not about the money. It's about the character that we build that we can then compound and use for the rest of our lives. It's all of that knowledge.
I wish I looked at myself when I was working at Nando's. I wish I looked at it more as a game, because even with the cooking and doing customer service as well, I was, rather than actually like working on the skills, like, so that's something I need to physically work on, and that's something I could easily work on. But rather than doing that, I would just go home and complain about it and being like, oh fuck, this is shit. I hate work.
Yeah.
but it's something that I could work on. That's a life skill
Yeah.
that I can develop.
Have it forever, man.
Yeah.
It's like you're being paid to learn,
Yeah.
right?
You are.
Essentially.
And especially when you get to the manager role and you can run the business, you get to manage a business without risk in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's so hard. And then people don't realize we need to build ourselves up, our character up, our work ethic up, see where it is, and then taper off a little bit if we want to be great, like Jordan Peterson says, so we can sustain that throughout the years. But the reason why that's so important is because most people, if they want to be great, they have this idea in their head that they want to start their own business or company. But they don't understand the spectrum, which is on the left side, you got a job. It's really easy. Next, you have like investing, where you're just investing in a stock and you're kind of passive. You're not really doing any work. Then you probably have like a franchise, where it's like a turnkey model. All you need to do is get trained by McDonald's or Nando's or whatever for 3 months. All the hard work's done, because all the hard work is done in the startup stage.
Yeah.
Then if you think you're going to start your own company, you're literally going to the hardest end of the spectrum, which is going to take so much work, so much character, all of these different skills that you're going to learn at your job. And if you haven't mastered them yet, the odds of failure are so much higher.
And that's what people do most of the time, don't they?
Mhm.
They go from jobs straight to starting their own thing when they haven't actually built up any of that character.
Yeah.
I mean, you're actually doomed to fail. Like, you are doomed from the beginning. You're scared.
Like, if you're not a specimen at your job yet and you're like outstanding, it's going to be hard to like have your own business.
Especially like at a startup where it's so lean, right? You're gonna have to put on so many different hats.
Yeah.
If you're not used to like taking on more responsibilities at your job and getting comfortable with putting on different hats at your job, even though it's not your job requirement, then how are you gonna do well in your startup? It's gonna be tough for you, and there's gonna be so many dips along the way on your startup.
Imagine starting your own business and like you got to speak to clients, then you got to do social media and stuff like that. And you're like, nah, that's not my role. I'm not doing social media. That's not my job.
Yeah.
Like, who else is gonna do it?
I'm not getting paid for that.
I'm not getting paid for that.
You're the CEO.
Dude, in a startup, you're not getting paid at all.
No one else works for you, son. It's just,
Yeah.
That means you don't have social media if you don't put on your hat.
Yeah. I think another good thing that Jordan Peterson was talking about in the video was in your 20s, find your edge in your 20s, right? And I think that's really important because in your 20s, you have fewer responsibilities. So you can go all out. You can focus purely on how good you are, how good you can be. It's like you're finding your potential of what you're capable of. And I think that's so important, which will set you up for the rest of your life.
I think as well, like that relates to when you know where your potential is, then later in life when something comes and hits you in the face, like say COVID does or whatever, and now you're facing all this extreme shit, now you're like, oh, I can just switch on that thing again. If I switch that thing on and push through it, I can make it through. But if you don't know where you're at, you know, where you've been in the past, and you're like, oh, I might have to switch it on now and work harder than I've ever worked in my life, you have that doubt, and then you start to get anxious and anxiety. And when you have that anxiety, you just can't think clearly, and then you can't execute, and it's just a tough position to be in. But when you've worked really hard in the past, you know, like, all right, I'm just going to switch it on for 3 months, get myself back on track. Let's go, boys.
It's like a light.
That's I guess one of the major things we've all taken from that early years of the grind, right? I was like, now we actually understand where we can push ourselves to if we need to.
Yeah.
If we get ourselves into a little hole. We got let alone the knowledge we have the ability, just pure work ethic to push ourselves out of this, like just the grunt work. Which is really, it is possible.
I think as well, like the big takeaway from this podcast is, just like you're saying, G, if you went back to Nando's day one, how would you do it differently? Because that comes from wisdom. 20-year-olds, most 20-year-olds, they can't see it, man. Like, I remember like telling everybody, I'm just selling it to them every single day. You don't know the opportunities we have in front of us here. It is the best place in the world. I still stand by that today. That's why I feel like how lucky and fortunate we are to work there, because it's just the amount that you can do. It's just unbelievable. But So what would you like? What would you think about, looking back on your past? Where was your mindset at?
My mindset was very all over the place, and I was in my middle like teenager years,
Yeah,
so
you're super young.
I was super young. I was super stupid, and I think I was just I don't know, I was like given a lot of things when I was growing up. So to be able to be given all that work and all that pressure, it kind of like just
Yeah,
can't be fucked. But yeah, looking back, like I said, it's a skill that I should have developed. Like I could have easily gone home and done tons of research,
yeah,
how to become better at sales, or how to or even watch you boys like cook, how to cook faster.
yeah.
Is skills that I should have developed.
Yeah, I feel like even with most things, people are lacking the mindset. So I remember my mindset was always, all right, I'm at school. I hate school. It's so annoying. I feel like I just need to relax. Now I have to go to a job as well. Or even like at the uni stage, um, like I just want to relax. I don't want to work. And then at job, you just don't take your job seriously, and then it becomes harder. You get more pressure from your boss. People aren't happy with you and all that stuff. Then if you just think in a positive way with extreme ownership, like, wait, if I just work really hard at this, everything actually becomes easier and it actually becomes more fun because now you're
Yeah.
addicted to it.
Yeah.
You want to progress.
It's like that Jeff Bezos speech where he's talking about he doesn't like do every job at Amazon, but he works every single day to make it more fun for himself.
Yeah.
To eventually build up to like 99% fun. There'll still be like 1% that he just doesn't enjoy.
Yeah, the work-life harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you first start this kind of journey of working harder at work, your immediate environment plays a really big role because the people at home, they're used to complaining about their jobs
Yeah.
or your friends or your friends' parents, people at school. You're always hearing people complain about it, so it becomes the norm. So when you yourself start complaining about your job, the other people indulge that and they're like, yeah, you're right. You're this, you're that. But that's why it's so important to have, I guess, good people around you to kind of keep you honest. Be like, no, well, you're not right. You're just complaining for the sake of complaining. Here's this and that, etc. And if you're having people indulge your concerns about work, more often than not, they're going to be wrong. Like they're just being that weak friend or weak person who's just like, yeah, it's all right. You didn't do anything wrong. You're not being lazy. You're working your hardest, etc., etc. It's like, mate,
the
it's just
worst.
fucking bullshit, mate.
Yes, man.
I was just thinking, whilst you were telling that story, I remember the first time that it actually finally got through to me in my head that, we were getting paid to learn. I remember complaining about fucking work being that annoyance, which I apologize for now, but I remember sitting in my car after it was a rough day, like by all accounts I can remember. Probably wasn't, but in my memory it seemed like a rough day. And I was explaining it to you and complaining like the pay is not worth being here, etc., etc. And I remember sitting in my car and on the phone to Dylan, and he was going, mate, you're getting paid to deal with these challenges on a regular basis. You're being paid to build that character. You're being paid to learn all these different things. And I had a car, so I would have been 18. As an 18-year-old to hear that, it's like, far out. That's a different perspective that I guess a majority of people wouldn't get unless they listen to things like this or have a person in their life like that. So, by all accounts, like, you're lucky to hear this, and I was lucky back then to be able to fucking hear it. So,
Something that happened to me as well, like was similar, was because when I got the job as the manager, I was very hungry to turn it around, and we had, certain metrics we needed to hit in terms of like labor costs, wastage, how much money we're bringing into the store, and all this stuff. Where every other manager thought how much money you bring into the store is just based on luck. It's how many people drive by and decide to stop. But there was things that you could do to increase the sales and all of this stuff. And I was so motivated. I wanted to beat everybody on every single metric, which was possible, right? And the sales was always like $20,000. We found a way to get it up to consistently $30,000. The bottom line, was up 50% for the boss. And I put a lot of that stress on me because I worked way harder. I would try to work put myself as like in the back kitchen when we normally have 3 people work in the back kitchen. I'll just be by myself. So we'll just save money there and all of this stuff. And then I smashed everybody for the longest period of time. I started to get noticed from the bosses and the area managers. There was 2 area managers above me. And then in one of the reviews, because we have quarterly reviews with the area managers, after a while, they're like, Dylan, you're really good, but we've been watching you, right? You smash everybody on every metrics, and we're so proud of you for doing that. But this is hard for you, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it is very hard. It's very difficult. And they practically said to me, bro, you actually suck. You should be able to hit those metrics and it be easy for you if you truly want to go to the next level. And I'm like, that hit my ego so fucking hard. And I'm like, damn, you're actually right. So I need to start fucking working smarter too. I thought I was smart. I thought I was working hard, which was very hard. And I was really had my ego wrapped up in working hard. So now when they said that, I'm like, oh shit. And every ounce of my body, you know, when you got that little ego, he wants to make excuses and all that shit. You got to find a way to control that little fella because that guy ain't you. And I'm like, you know, and I'm proud of myself for having the ability to be able to do these things. Just, you got me, you know? You just got to do it. You know, that's what you need to do. Yeah. And then you start thinking about that and you start switching it up. And yeah, that one thing was, I'm very grateful for that.
Start delegating, start teaching.
Yeah.
The truth is very bitter. So it's good that they actually said the truth, right?
Yeah.
So
whenever that was,
turned you into a specie.
Whenever that was, I can't specifically remember, but I remember like that's going to be the difference between you and manager at that point, just grinding the results out on your own back to you becoming like a leader.
Yeah.
And actually start teaching people around. And
wow,
I'm sure there's a correlation with you starting teaching all this us and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
I can just assume it's there somewhere.
talk about timing as well, bro. That would have been great timing for me to hear that.
Oh, no.
Did you feel like it was hard because you weren't delegating as much? Like it was just you doing the whole thing?
Yeah, it was a lot of that. And then I always knew, it sounds bad, but and everyone says this, but people can't do as good a job as, you know, the person that's in charge, which like, especially at Nando's, the quality of people are lower. So I would say at every single job, I was always better than everybody. But then I had to think of how to build very intelligent systems so that the system would make up for their lack of knowledge or hard work. Like as an example, like something very simple was I bought an exact amount of plates where those plates would be stacked up in the back kitchen, and I calculated if they would ever go down by half, which was the level to the size of the bench, I'll tell everybody that means there's going to be too many dirty plates outside if they're not in the dishwasher, and we're going to run out. So then like everything, like these become these little systems. And then you're like, oh shit, plates down 50%, back kitchen now knows to signal to front of house, dude, there's going to be plates out there. So it's like little things like this. And then, yeah, like you can make the system on the back end, and it's like, people always think about systems in technology companies and all of this stuff, but they never think about it in restaurants.
McDonald's is the most perfect example of that.
Yeah.
So they themselves have created like the most perfect system to get rid of competency. Like they can hire anyone and everyone because it doesn't take a special person to be able to work there.
Yeah.
From the routes they take, as in like in the kitchen, from where things are, everything is, it's almost built for a robot, which probably is built for a robot.
And if you think about it as well, like everybody's mindset is, oh, like I remember my sister was saying, oh, but my boyfriend, don't make fun of him because he's working at a factory, he's working at fast food, and he's doing DoorDash at the same time.
What a specie.
I don't know.
That's
Like,
ripper.
that's really good. You're getting 3 sets of experience and extra money and doing more than 38 hours a week.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of him.
All of his mates make fun of him because he's slaving away. He doesn't have time. A lot of the time and they just put him in a box. You're the factory guy.
Yeah, well,
You got no skills. You're so low level.
his mates are fucking degenerates.
But yeah, it's so important, like, to have this mindset, and it's so great when you start thinking yourself as an asset, then that gives you the ability to like think about like safety. Like a lot of the times when Nando's was getting really busy during the summer, sales are starting to naturally go up. Then as it starts to go down, so we would hire extra people for that time. Then when sales start to go down, you start to look, all right, we've got 20% extra people than we need, 20% extra hours. We need to chop 20% off the roster. Who gets chopped? The people that suck get chopped. People think in their mind that, oh, they're just going to chop 20% from everybody. Mate, it don't work like that.
All the top boys at the top, the best in the business, always consolidate all the hours every time.
Yeah.
It's less of a risk for a business. Like if you just take 20% off everyone, then like what, the bottom is still getting hours? Like what's the point? I want the most efficient working all of the time.
Because it's very important.
Everything gets done better.
It's very important to think as the business owner. What does the business owner or the manager actually want? They want maximum productivity, maximum value. I saw so many people that were decent, I'll call them B class, and then they'll be working 38 hours and they would want an extra 10 hours. I'm like, I'll give it to you no matter what. But you got to make sure that 10 hours doesn't suck, where a lot of them will just get tired and they'll get lazy. I'm like, why would I give it to you? Like we can just find someone else that's only working 10 hours that needs another 10. And they can be more productive than that person. People always just think like, oh, because I'm a guy that's doing 38, I deserve more. It's just about per hour value you add.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's ripper.
No, not a once-off type of thing. There's a lot of nuances to that, which is, I guess, frustrating, but frustratingly difficult to explain. But yeah, I think the basic overall picture is like try to become as good as you possibly can, because then it's less risk to the business to have you working all the time and you get to develop into, I mean, the best version of yourself at any time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's just overall good.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I think we've explained it very well, like why it's important and all of this and all the nuances of it. I will start moving into like how to actually do it, like other things to actually do. But to like wrap it up, here's like a story. Like this is a little bit of insight of like how seriously we used to take Nando's. So this is what we all used to do. During when it started to get quiet, right? After like 2 p.m., you've done the lunch rush, it starts to get quiet. When it gets quiet, sometimes you only have one person working on the shift, maybe two people working on the shift. So as an example, this is what will happen. 2 o'clock, everything's done within the store. Everything's prepped up, ready to go. The chickens are cooking for nighttime. All the salads are re-prepped, all of that stuff. You've cleaned all the tables. Everything's done. Then you go outside. It's not on the job description. We're out there cutting hedges, all right? We're cutting the hedges. We're doing the maintenance. We're cleaning up the weeds. And like every time, no joke, like I was always behind the hedge, right? Giving her a trim. Then I would hear a car rock up. I would see it's a regular customer. I'll greet him, like pop my head out.
Like scare the shit out of him, by the way. Like,
and I'll be like, oh, hey, George, how you going? Good to see you
that's
again.
an actual customer, by the way.
Right? And good old George would be walking around. Then I would quickly, as he's walking around to the front, I would quickly drop the garden tools, run around the back, quickly scrub my hands, follow all the sanitization rules, and then I'll be already at the counter ready to serve him. Like, oh yeah, you need a quarter chicken, lemon and herb, regular peri chips, and a large Fanta. Is there anything else you want for today? He's like, nah. All right, he taps his card. Then the rules from Nando's head office is you got to cook within 7 minutes. All right. If it's busy, up to 10 minutes. Mate, 4 minutes flat.
The chicken's already on the stove by the time it gets served.
I think the real question is, Dylan, are you a robot?
Right, that's what we had to do, right? And
That's some AI shit, bro.
4 minutes, he's already got his food, and he's getting shocked at this stage, right? And then you can see, you go outside, start cutting the hedge, look at the time, all right, it's about 5 minutes. This guy roughly finishes at the 6 minute mark. Go check up on him. All right, he is finished. Clean up his thing. Hey, would you like a little free water? Serve the water for him. Because we used to do like bottled water in the fridge for our regular customers, right? And then clean up all of his plates. And then as he's walking out, back on the hedge. Already beat him outside. And then he's looking like, is there multiple clones of this guy? Yeah, is there twins?
Dude, George would have been walking out like,
We just used to mind fuck everybody. I like the amount of value.
You've been thinking about that while he's eating his Nando's. Like,
What's happening?
Curious George.
Checking if there's like leaves in his burger.
It actually something like that happened one time.
Oh,
Where not like leaves, but like they're like, oh, did that guy wash his hands? I was like, mate, fuck, of course I washed my hands. You think I'm gonna run back inside? You think I've got the mentality to stop what I'm doing, run back inside, serve you, and not wash my hands? Like I just sprinted here. I'm trying to add you value, you fuck. God damn.
But like, yeah, like the funny thing with Nando's, like, you got to do that. You got to do pest control. One day, gee, like I accidentally forgot, right? I forgot to do the maintenance on the back, like patio thing where it's got like the pergola, and you got to clean that thing because spiders come out and they make a lot of spider webs. And I forgot about it for a few months, and that was my bad. That was my one thing. I'm like, oh shit. I honestly was scared. So I gave it to G. G started spraying these things, right? No joke. These big huntsmen started popping down. They were literally like the drop bear meme.
Bro, do you remember this?
Started dropping on G.
Yeah, I fucking remember this.
Dude, you could have
Dude,
died.
Dylan hired me like after, like I wasn't even working. He literally called me. He's like, "Oh, you gotta come in for a couple hours." I came in like casual clothes, like not even work uniform. I was like spraying his
G, I need a
fire.
meat shield. G, I need you to come in for a few hours.
Dude, that was dangerous, man. Looking back, you could have died, G.
No, I didn't though.
Poisonous spiders get
Here I
inside.
am.
Right. I didn't though.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to do stuff like that. Even like the toilets, they'll break down. You have to jump on YouTube. How does the system thing work? Find out those little
So
rubber.
normally when this type of shit happens, people would like tell head office, and then head office would have to pay for someone to come in, right?
Yeah,
But
well,
then
instead
you
of-
guys
yeah.
decided to just do it yourself.
We do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's on
I
the
remember
job
I had to
description
like
or not.
clean the gutters and shit of the fucking. of the store.
Gee,
Don't talk about that one, G.
Gee, I don't know what you're talking about. G.
Unfortunately, that bit got cut out. Okay, so don't worry about it. Just move
It
on.
doesn't exist.
And like
yeah,
behind
it's
the
off the
fridges
record.
and everything.
But yeah, you want to like, especially if it's not on your job role, you want to take it on
Yeah.
unless it's dangerous. Sometimes we would do a little bit of the dangerous things. Like one day, Doc was climbing up the Nando's sign like a coconut tree. That is so Doc.
Dude, this thing's 20 meters high.
She's 20 meters tall, Paul.
Dude, I'm fucking literally. Dude,
A few of us like insiders. Don't take this advice. This is the most stupid advice ever.
yeah, don't.
But a few of us that were like insiders, like me, Doc, and G, we would do the dangerous shit. So Doc was always climbing the coconut trees.
This is not advice. Do not do this.
Dude, sometimes I rock up to work and then I hear fucking, "Oi, G," and then I'm like, "Who the fuck said that?" And she's like, "Oi, G, who said that?" "Up here, mate." "Oh, Doc, how am I?" He's like,
Dude, they're so lucky we didn't work at KFC because we'll be hiding in that KFC bucket, giving it a detail
Oh,
clean.
mate.
Dude, you know what would be funny?
I
If you were
spent
like on
shifts
that
in there.
sign and then you're like, "Hey, G," and then G's like, "Hey, what's up?" "Oh, hey, Doc." And then you just drop a spider on him.
Oh, you left this one, G.
And G turns into like Spider-Man.
The amount of shit we used to do. We did all the gardens there.
Read to the gardens. Doc used to rock up with a trailer.
Wait,
and
this is
mulch.
actually not a joke. We rocked up with a trailer and a trailer of mulch. Mulch the whole thing.
God.
Like, we fucking landscaped out. We actually built a garden bed. We built a garden bed. Dude, we worked there for $7.
Oh, shit.
One day, right? Then one day the boss is like, "Wow, you've done a good job with this garden. I'm going to invest a little bit more money into it, right?" So they bought all these brand new plants to put in our new
This is
garden. we
actually
made,
upsetting.
right? And then the boss was going to check on it because they love plants, and sometimes they like to water it themselves because they just like plants, even though it's not profitable. They just like to do that shit. So they were coming back next week on like Monday. The day before, I saw on the CCTV someone had rocked up with a different trailer and stolen all of them at night.
We worked so hard to put all the fucking plants in and shit. And someone just nicked them all. How'd you get around it?
So what I did, they didn't take, there's like 3 other plants, but around the corner. But it's like 20 meters of plants that were taken. So it was like 1 plant every 2 meters. So the 3 that weren't taken, I cut them off at the stems, like at the branches, and I replanted all of them.
Dude,
Boss comes up, he's like, did they shrink?
I don't know what you're talking to me. I don't know what you're talking to me.
So we just had these little twigs as plants.
It's literally just like you got a bamboo stick and shoved it in the ground. It's like, Ma, it's the same fluffy bush.
Did you ever tell the owner?
Nah.
Well, he knows now.
It's the same fluffy bush.
Yeah. Like, you got to be creative, man.
Yeah, well, what's the story there? Like, what are you gonna say? You're just gonna be like, yeah, all your shit got stolen. Nah, Like, that's not something. That's not what someone wants to hear. Even if it was the morning of they got there, they want to see the problem fixed.
I think a good lesson from that is like you saw the business as your own.
Yeah.
And like instead of like not coming up with a solution, you would find a solution anyway.
Yeah, like imagine being the owner of however many Nando's is, and then getting a call that all these plants got stolen. Man, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's like what's
Get
the
more
solution?
plants,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that I'd say a lot of managers would call, I guess, the higher ups for that they just don't need to know, nor do they want to know. They want a version of themselves managing the restaurant, someone who will deal with things, solve problems, all of that kind of stuff, lead from the front, etc. So
that kind of leads into the how. That was one of the points that we had here. It's like take more responsibility, work. It's like it's your own business.
You have to, man. You have to work like it's your own business, because when you do decide to eventually open up your own business, now you know what it takes. You actually have data points to prove to yourself that you can actually be successful with this thing. If you're just a random staff member and then you think you can open up your own business because I don't like the work, load at the standard job, and I want to do my own thing, be my own boss, and be a boss bitch, that's what Olivia used to always say. They don't have the reality in their heads. That's what they always say. Talking about Olivia, like one thing, right? If you think about a normal restaurant or normal fast food, it's quite frequent, and the customer doesn't even know this. They're out of Sprite, or they're out of a Coke Zero glass bottle. People don't know that you don't even have that, but you still have another 20 varieties. We used to be so good at ordering in all the drinks that a drink would never run out, right? And then one time I accidentally messed up not ordering enough like peach iced teas, and that was our most popular drink. I'm like, they can drink others, but because we have a high standard, let's make sure we got peach iced tea. We still had another 2 flavors. I was already sorting it out. Olivia had found out that I ran out of peach iced teas. She finally found a flaw in me. She calls up the boss. Oh, Dylan's ran out of peach iced teas. She doesn't know the exact. I'm like I was telling her, it's not a big deal. I'll sort it out. It's easy. We can just take it from a different store. Or I just went straight onto Colsey.
just always take.
Yeah, so like you would swap stock. But what I did is I just typed on Colsey. Mate, she's 50% off this weekend only. She's literally cheaper than the supplier. So I made a profit.
I swear to you, the amount of times that you would fix a solution and it would work out to be positive is fucked. The amount of times you're like, Ma, I just fixed all the shit. Don't worry about it. And guess what saved your money? You're like, great work. You're like,
Sounds like Olivia was a bit of a gossiper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Big gossiper. That's what you don't want to be.
Yeah.
You don't want to build your reputation up as a gossiper. Like no one wants to be around that energy.
and then you can't trust them with anything.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we've got this. We need to solve this problem this week, this problem this week, this problem this week. Like, they're going to get solved, but it's like, I don't want your help.
Yeah.
So then if you're a gossiper, you don't get any more responsibility. You can't move up the chain. You can't do anything because you're just not, like, you're not good to have around. Like, you're not helpful. You're not adding value. You're just Ben and Olivia, which is just shit.
And like Olivia was like, her whole purpose was to just find that little flaw in you.
Oh man, it's the worst.
That's what she was coming into work for.
It's that thing of, like, it relates to like the idea of business. It's like, instead of building the bigger tower, she's trying to tear your tower down to then take over. I was like, no, just build yourself up and you'll have a better chance. Like, can you compete? Obviously not. But you have a better chance of being the best of you, which is more important than taking over from someone else.
What happened after she told your manager that, you're running out of peach ice?
Yeah, then the boss would be, a little bit, like, the boss was weird because, not weird, but it's actually good. Well, the boss had high standards too, so she would put pressure on you. Like, how come are you doing this? But it's like a trick. It's a trick to see if you're worthy to be a manager or not. Like the first day that I came, like the first week I was as a manager, she would do that to me. Like she would come in and say, how come you're not picking up the phone within 15 seconds and all of this stuff, even though I felt like it was on 15 seconds. She's just throwing out these things to just have attacks at you to see if you're worthy to handle the pressure, because she knows it's pretty cutthroat working in fast food. So
You got to give credit to that
Yeah.
because she brought out the best in you.
yeah, for sure.
Like, she knew like what it takes to run a proper hospitality business.
And most other
Bloody good at
managers
it.
would complain, saying, "Oh, she's like this," or they're so fussy about these things, but they don't know she doesn't actually care. It's a bigger game at play. So she knows later down the line when she's building out a proper leadership team and a business development management goes, she knows, oh, that guy, he could handle the pressure, or that girl, I'm going to put them into the position. Their pay will go up straight to 6 figures, and then you got to build your shit out. Like, you got to build your reputation, all of that, well in advance before the opportunity arises.
So I think it also gets to a point specifically with you where if other people complained about you to someone, like your reputation was so good where it was like, well, I'm going to ask them the question previous. Like, if your reputation is good enough, you always get benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So the call is, like the problem is simple as like, say the owner would call and be like, hey, just heard this, what the hell's going on? Oh, okay. How do you know? And I'm solving it like this, and this. Oh, okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Done.
Easy.
Would you say dealing with the gossipers was something probably like one of the hardest parts of the job?
It's very hard. But the biggest thing that like the trick that I did at Nando's was we had a detail cleaning sheet. So that was like one of the prerequisites. Like you really needed to do your own working and clean out your station that you're working on. And if you didn't, like it's really bad because you're leaving that for the next person to come on the shift. You're putting them on the back foot. So people were supposed to tick off if they had cleaned it. But then if people ticking it off, no one has skin in the game because you don't know who ticked it off. Even though you can kind of relate who worked on that bench, but it's hard because you got to check the cameras and all this stuff. It becomes a hassle. So I just wrote, from now, like I just made it a thing. From now on, we actually need to sign our name there. And then you can see, I'm like, all right, the gossiper never signs a name. So at the end of the quarterly reviews, because we do that for all the staff as well, I'm like, mate, this is how many you're supposed to do. This is how many you actually did. Right? So I had actual evidence there. And then it talks about in law of power, like I would always give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But then, if someone's always attacking me, mate, she's war. She's war and you don't even know it's war. So straight away, I would find ways to make her life harder, reduce her hours and all this, until she would eventually give up and she would leave. And then she would gossip saying, oh, I'm quitting. Dude, you don't know. I made you quit. That's the reality.
Yeah.
So they don't know what's happening.
Good morals and good values win out in the end anyway. So it's like if you just hold yourself to a certain standard, like as being a decent human being, that person's obviously going to get caught out in the end of talking shit that they just had no idea what the hell was going on. And once that person in enough people's eyes is not trusted, the gossip becomes, gee, what this stupid bitch said. And then it's easy.
Yeah. We've got a really good point on here, which is never outshine your master. Do you want to talk about that one, Dill?
Yeah, I think this relates to like, so imagine you have like a boss or something and you have to deliver information or you have to have open lines of communication with that person. You never want to, like, especially if you don't have a strong relationship with that person, you definitely don't want to show how they're wrong. Even though you have good intentions, you're trying to show and improve the business, but you need to gain your reputation first and that relationship first, not outshine them at the beginning. Then once you've built that, then you can say, oh, here's a suggestion. I think we should change this around. I think we should change that around. But if you're constantly making the boss look worse than you, it hurts their ego so much that now they may feel potentially threatened, or just because you've hurt their ego, you've attacked them. So now they actually want to attack you back in return and push you down. So a lot of people struggle with this all the time, especially younger people that don't have much emotional intelligence. They're always trying to, like, this is how the boss is wrong, this is how the boss is wrong, this is how the boss is wrong. It's better to be a yes man at the beginning. Yes, yes, okay, okay. I'll do it your way. I'll do it your way. I'll do it your way. And especially at the beginning, if you've just moved into that role, sometimes you honestly think your way is better. But because you have a lack of knowledge and a lack of experience, you're actually wrong. So now you're talking as if you're right compared to the boss. But the boss can just see straight through that whole entire thing. You're like, I can see what you think. I can see what you're thinking. I can see, but you're completely wrong. But because you went to attack your boss, now they can't be bothered working it out with you and explaining it to you.
Yeah. Like the boss obviously has more experience on the job than you do, which is why that person is the boss. So if you come up with a solution that you think is right, like to what you're saying, Dylan, you're most likely wrong because maybe the boss already thought of that and then it didn't work.
Yeah.
So like the boss obviously doesn't implement that solution because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So what the boss has on you is experience
Hmm.
and reputation.
Yeah.
So you've got to play to your boss, and then eventually, as you build your reputation and experience, then you can move on, and your boss will have more respect for you, and then will actually start listening to your solutions more. But you never want to, like at the start, you never want to make your boss look bad because your boss, at the end of the day, your boss gave you the job.
Oh yeah, they're providing so much more value to you, and I think you got to think about like what is your goal? Like imagine you went to a new office and your new workplace, and you got to think like, what is my actual goal? Then based on that goal, you've now created a game. You know, imagine your goal is I want to progress to the top as fast as possible so I can make the most money, I can make the most sales or whatever happens to be. It's better to align yourself with the boss, help the boss as much as possible, because they will give you practically the green light, the fast way to the top. If you come in there showing the boss they're wrong, the boss is like, mate, you come into my own business. You know, trying to teach me how to do this thing. I've been in the industry for 20 years. And you could be right. But the thing is, it just hurts the ego too much. You got to really know who you're talking to. Someone that's very humble, you can do it and they'll listen. But you got to understand the way life works is 99% of people, or a very large portion of them, they haven't done that inner work to be able to just listen and absorb.
Yeah.
And even if you're really humble as well, you know, getting told you're wrong and you have the position of power, it just feels weird.
When I was at a different working place, there was a way I didn't outshine my muscle or the boss to be able to build on two different types of relationships. One was with the boss, as we were talking there, and the other was with the people I was immediately surrounding myself with. So the situation is, he was fairly new to the business, came from a different place entirely, so didn't have the immediate experience, but did with the financial side of things, right? Now with the operations, he didn't really understand that specific part. It's just the way it went down. So with the operations, he as a human being, he wanted to obviously, you know, do his best to get in the best light with his higher ups, right? Because everyone has a manager all the time, and he was a guy who wanted to, like doing that, you have to take credit for a lot of things. Whether or not he was doing the work doesn't matter. So the way I used to kind of the way I did play it was, regardless of what it was, you would do the work, we would do the work, then send it off to him, and he would send it off as if his own work, right? He would get the credit, but then as claiming it as his own, with the people are surrounding me immediately, that didn't look good for him because he would take the credit for the work. So I then gained respect and reputation for the people who I needed the most help from at that time, because I was working in an environment where they were the specific people who were actually doing the work. I needed them to be the best. So I had to gain reputation with them, and they would help me the most. I gained reputation with them. And then I gained reputation with him because I didn't take credit for the work that he needed to take credit for with his higher up bosses.
Yeah.
So I had on both sides, I had the best people in both situations being taken care of, which means I could very easily kind of identify where the problems were, a control situation in which way I wanted.
Yeah.
Which
That's good. You got to be the bigger man.
it's pretty
He
it's
gave
like
you
easier
the
way.
power.
Huh?
He gave you the power.
Yeah, it helps when you have that type of control. You can solve situations better, and it's not about, say, me looking good. It's about getting the work done as quick as possible in the best way possible. And in a role, what I was doing, it's incredibly difficult to do it solely by yourself. You need other people. You need help. You need all these different things. Whether it's financial help from up top, I need him to be okay with me spending this money, and whether it's like actual operational help from the people who I work closest with. I needed both of them to understand that what I said go went, and it was all good. And it worked out in a way that both people trust me with that, so I could just make decisions we just get done quickly.
Yeah.
And it'll work easier. So that's another way to maybe not outshine your master for a benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I reckon the moral of the story is there. Don't outshine your master, but it's actually good to outshine your peers. You have to outshine your peers.
Yeah.
Because you have to be seen as like amongst your peers, you've got to be the boss.
Yeah.
You have to be the leader. Because if you want to be great, you naturally need to be the leader. Because if you can take charge of this and you deserve to be the leader, then it's like what Steve Jobs says, how A-class people love to hang around other A-class people. So if you have the ability to train up those people to turn them into A-class, then all of a sudden your job becomes way easier, becomes more fun, and you actually want to rock up to work because you're just cruising now. Everything's solved.
You know, like I've worked with people who are incredibly loud as well. Like they have to be the loudest in the room. They have to be always voicing their opinion. One thing I learned, you have to be like correct the most amount of times in people's eyes.
Yeah.
Like who is correct more often? And then that way, even if they're speaking louder, even if they try and take control, they're just trying to kind of force their opinion on whatever is going on. If you're correct a majority of the time, you're going to sway the vote. Because everything is sales. And people always depend on, like, when they're making decisions, they want to look at previous history. So if they're looking at your previous history of being correct, or this guy's just talking out of his ass, like who are they going to go with? More often than not, it's going to be this person.
Yeah.
As in me. So
And that's the reputation that you build over time.
Yeah.
yeah, and like in the last I knew I was leaving, if that makes sense, where I was working. So it wasn't so important for me to like try and progress. So it was a very unique situation. I think for a majority of the times people are trying to progress and get up the ranks as quick as possible. I mean, I was sweet where I was because I knew exactly what I was doing. It wasn't high stress anymore. So it was like, how can I, again, just make this, I guess, as easy as possible, still learn what I can, and then also help other people out to promote them and stuff like that. Because I wanted to leave some sort of like thing as like, oh, he set that up. So I built systems like he did that. That's from Daniel. Oh, who's this Daniel guy?
Yeah, if you set up like a little legacy, then that will build your reputation for the long term.
Yeah.
And they'll bring in more success in the long term for yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's a little bit more of I think it still makes sense though.
Yeah.
What are some of the easier ones? I guess like those are pretty nuanced and complex. Like what's a basic one that I guess you started with? Like one of the first ones you told me was to like turn up early.
Oh yeah, in terms of
like how to do it. So,
yeah, like you got to show up early, man. You got to show up early, and you got to be punctual. You always got to be there, and especially if you want to climb the ranks, show up real early. Like showing up 1 hour early, that's nothing, and doing the work better than everybody else for free. You'll get noticed straight away, and then stay back and do the work for free as well. Like people take notice of that stuff, and then in this kind of environment where everybody's soft, is like, oh, but why would you work for nothing? You deserve more and all this stuff. Well, sometimes you got to sacrifice a little bit to go further ahead. So show up early, leave early. Specifically with Nando's, like there was a shift that was like 12 o'clock to 5 p.m. I never really liked it because lunchtime normally gets busy at 11:45. So I started to make the roster difference where like you rock up at 11:30. Some people rock up at 11:30 to get ready for that 11:45 rush. Because the rush never starts right at 12. And then sometimes at 5 o'clock, it gets busy again for dinner. So sometimes it's good to just stay back and help them out. And then all your teammates, like Doc was saying, at his workplace, you're building that reputation because you're making it easier for everyone. So you want to set everybody up for success. So I think that's a nice, simple example.
Yeah, I learned in my late teens to rocking up early was a really beneficial thing.
Yeah.
Beneficial for your mindset as well. So if you're rocking up late to work, you're so stressed out from the start of the shift.
You just hurt yourself.
Yeah. But when you rock up early, like you can kind of see how everything's going, and it gives you so much peace of mind.
Yeah. That's it.
Wow. Realizing some of these things, like especially from the Nando's era, I wasn't the best at. So it's good to be able to look back on them. Exactly what G was saying. The example there is like, what would you do when you look back? And I've learned a lot of these things previously by I've learned a lot of these things post working there by looking back on, I guess, what I didn't do there after learning them.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you're in the position now where you've left a certain job, like what would you do? Go back there, kind of think through it. And then your new job, use some of those skills and bring them forward into this one.
Yeah. That's it. I think in terms of communication, so something that the bosses are always craving is for someone to literally put their hand up and say, hey, I actually want to achieve some things here. I want to do whatever it takes. How can you help me make that a reality? Because obviously that'll be beneficial for yourself, like for the boss. You don't need to say that part. They already get it. They are craving for someone to actually take responsibility and say that to them so they can dedicate and invest some energy into them. So like that was like the biggest thing, because you're always like everyone, like the low level people always like, oh mate, like this workplace needs me so bad. If I leave this Nando's, it's screwed. But at the exact same time, you're getting in such a surplus of resumes every single day that literally just get chucked in the bin because there's too many of them. You don't even need to hire. So you just chuck it straight away in the bin. And those people can be replaced easily. What's hard is finding leaders, managers. That's the hard part. So everybody's waiting for someone to put their hand up.
People willing.
I think this also relates back to Doc's story, where he was an effective communicator with his boss, but also his peers. And you were able to be that middle person that's able to facilitate all these changes that need to be made.
Yeah.
Like, you know what changes need to be made, but you need to get all the... It's like having a team, right? Your team has to communicate and flow with each other, or else you're not going to win, right?
That was a major thing in that example, and the people I used to manage and lead as well. It's like, dude, if you don't communicate with these guys, the job itself is already stressful.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit different than what we're talking about, I should say, but just as a leader, like, you need to be able to also communicate. Just communicate across the entire thing.
When you're starting out, would you boys say it's important to like pick out which managers you want to try and build reputation with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's some Game of
Because-
Thrones shit, man.
Yeah.
I've noticed this,
Absolutely.
what'd you say?
It's some Game of Thrones shit.
Because I noticed, so with my workplace, my current workplace, so the hierarchy is you got your coordinator who runs the houses, and then you got the team leader who's the team leader of the specific house, and then under the team leader you got the employees. The team leader that I had with one of my previous houses was it was a shocker. It was so bad. I'd noticed like from the get-go that he was like delegating shit, and then he wasn't even doing anything himself. He was literally like putting his feet up on the table, like bare feet as well on the table, and like just fucking watching TV all day.
What the
Wow,
fuck? That's in someone else's home, right? that how it is?
It's like our disability care home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
we got the employees that work at the house.
Yeah.
And then the team leader comes in and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm a team leader. I just do this, do
Oh,
that,"
they're the
and then he
worst.
just sits and does nothing.
My advice would be wipe that guy out with the amount of work that you do and make sure that their boss knows who you are, and you will take their job within 6 months.
Take their job, son.
Easily. You can wipe. Like, that person's either they're gonna go two things. A, they're gonna try and ruin you to their higher up. They're just gonna like destroy your reputation by this, and this, or they're gonna actually have to put their foot down and do some work. And in either situation, your consistency will beat them.
How old is this person?
Like mid-30s.
Yeah, this is what happens when you don't work your ass off in your
You will
20s. You become that person.
murk
And going
that
back
unit.
to like Jordan Peterson's video, you don't want to be the single guy in
Yeah.
your 40s at a bar, right?
But yeah, now we don't have the team leader anymore, so it's okay now.
Yeah.
Now we can just communicate straight to the coordinator.
See, that guy was just a middleman for no reason.
Literally.
Yeah.
No reason.
But
But it's just
that doesn't make
when you
sense.
come in for the first time, when you're watching that, like, well, I feel like when you're going to a job for the first time, you don't want to try and impress everyone because it's just a waste of your energy. Because that guy, if I try to impress him, it's not going to do anything
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Gotta
Yeah.
pick your battles for sure.
Yeah.
I reckon you should impress with your actions,
Yeah.
not just words. It's easy to say, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this." Like during job interviews, you can easily just make shit up.
Yeah.
But are you gonna actually perform like with your actions? And then I think if you're just doing your actions and just crushing every single day, you're going to get noticed.
Yeah, talking about that, like I noticed that as well when I was doing a lot of the interviews. Everybody would talk shit in it, you know, saying how much better they are. So my filter that I made for like the system was, I'll say, all right, if you trust me, you don't want to work at this Nando's because we do things differently here. So
That's ripper.
Yeah, I'd say it like that. Because as an example, these are the things we do. The workload will be triple compared to any other Nando's, and the pay is going to be the same. Your first day on the job, we're cleaning toilets, and you're going to be cleaning toilets for a very long time. Are you really willing to do this? Right? And then it would happen, maybe even 50% of the time, people would just go along with it. Then first day, they actually get a shock. We're cleaning the toilets. You know,
So they thought it was like a joke or something.
Yeah, they might have thought it was a joke. And then you can see, like, but the good thing is when you hire someone, because it's actually really hard to fire them in that type of thing. I don't know the exact rules, the laws, but it's actually hard to fire someone. I think back then the rule was you have to give them 3 warnings on the same mistake before you can legally fire someone.
On the same, you know how hard that is. After a 3-month trial, by the way.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is,
So you have a
can't be
3-month trial
So you can't fire them in the 3 months 'cause they're learning.
after the 3 months.
Yeah.
But within the 3 months you can.
That's why
Really?
we would
Yeah.
pressure the gills out of someone, see how they are.
Shit.
So I would always utilize that. I'll give people 3 months the benefit of the doubt, but if I wasn't happy after 2 months and 3 weeks, on the last week you're getting fired because you know you said you're going to do something in the interview, you didn't back it up. And I'll communicate with them all the time. I said, you know, I'll sit them down, talk, hey, you're messing up here and here. You need to fix it. Please remember, you can always come to me for help if you want to. But if some people didn't have the attitude, you just need to fire them. But like that was like a little filter to get rid of the scorches.
I was going to say about communication, just sorry, ever so quickly. As a person who is working hard, your boss does literally want to hear when you don't know the answer. Like if you don't know something, ask the question.
That's maturity.
Like it is not a failure on your part to not know an answer. Like if you don't know this thing, that thing, just go to them like, hey, what am I doing? Help me, please. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just be direct.
Just ask the question, and then they go, oh, shit, all right, here's this, this, and this. And more often than not, if they're a good leader, they go, I apologize, I didn't recognize you didn't understand that. And then you have great communication between both parties, and that's how you excel pretty quickly.
And in that scenario as well, it's like, you got to know who you're talking to. Because if the person you're talking to has the knowledge and can see straight through you, it's better to not try and bullshit your way out of it. Because they can see it. And then, you know, it's better just say, fuck, I actually don't know how to do this. And
But I
like,
wanna
far
learn.
out. Finally, someone admitted it so I can actually help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
I think managers and leaders, people like to teach anyway. Even if it's just an ego thing, they like to be in control and saying things.
Yeah.
Just play to that. Why not?
I reckon another big one is bringing good energy to the workplace.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person that rocks up to work, you know, either late or grumpy.
Vampire, man.
Yeah, it just sucks the life out of the whole team. You don't want to be that person. You want to pump the whole team up.
Yeah.
That's it's a very intangible quality to have. Like it's very hard to value how effective that is in an organization. But speaking of like personal experience, I worked, you know, long hours, long shifts, where I was pretty much on the computer the whole time, and we were working on rosters where 4 people would be on and then 4 people would be off. So it's like a total of 8 people in a team. And I was stuck with this person who just had like the most negative, most fear-based view on the world. And he would just bring that to the office every single time I was working. And it was like the most excruciating time during my work.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person. And I could like physically see people avoiding that person. You know, it's hard to avoid the person because you're working so closely with them, but people are literally going out of their way to not be around that person.
It's crazy as well because it's so sad that they don't have the self-awareness to even see that. You know, they don't even notice. They're like the opposite side of a magnet, repelling everybody away. They don't even know.
It goes back to the law of attraction.
Yeah.
You're just attracting like the worst energy, the worst luck in your life. Poor guy was divorced as well. It's like he just had the worst
poor bugger.
life. Yeah, I felt sorry for him. but at the same time, we're working, right?
Yeah.
It's like keep your personal stuff out of work.
This shit's not ideal as it is.
Yeah, it's not.
Like fucking, let's pump each other up for Christ's sake and enjoy something we're doing.
Thing as well is like what we used to say at Nando's all the time was, you really are trying to find someone that's super proactive, that really takes initiative and does shit. So our saying was, it's kind of actually stolen, and I lied to a lot of people about this, but it's like, if you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean. So I stole that from the founder of IKEA, I'm pretty sure.
Was distraught when I found out it was stolen. I was so...
Did
honestly,
you make that up?
I had, like... I was so proud. I was like, dude, that's the best fucking thing I've ever heard. You are a rapper, bro. Like, you need to...
That's some Confucius shit.
Yeah. I was like, dude, Aristotle over here. And then guess what? He's just a liar and a cheat.
But seriously, like, if you're working at a job, there's always something to do. There actually is no time to have time off. You gotta find something to do and be proactive, man.
Again, if you don't know the answer, ask the person. They've always got 10 things that they want to get done.
Yeah.
Your boss has, like, literally an never-ending list of things that need to get done.
Yeah.
Ask them the damn question. Like, all right, what do we need to do? What do we need to do?
Yeah. So they'll probably relate to seeking a mentor.
Yeah.
Find someone
That's
above
so
you.
important.
Yeah.
And yeah, to G's point as well, like, you have to find that right person.
Yeah.
Some people are just going to be a waste of time to try and find who, some people won't be able to teach you, or they won't want to teach you all these things, but the right person will.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely an element of self-awareness to this one, because when you're seeking a mentor, you're kind of you're trying to emulate someone. You're trying to be like someone. When you're in a job, you might not be in this job for 10 plus years, right? You might be in this job for like 1 to 2 years, and then you might move on to something else, right? So in those 1 to 2 years, I think you have to have the self-awareness to know what you want to get out of this job and who you can get it out of. So that's why you should seek a mentor. And there's a little bit of self-awareness involved there. Like, what do you want to get out of this? And you should never like go into a job just for the sake of money, because you're not going to have the work ethic. You're going to be grumpy all the time. You're going to not care about showing up on time, and you're not going to treat it like it's your own business. And then you're not going to learn anything from it. So yeah, there's some self-awareness there.
I think, the really important thing for us as well is, especially with even Hardcore Head Start as a startup, we could have gone down the route of working less at our jobs and all of that stuff and go harder on the startup. But I feel like this podcast is why we need to work at our jobs, because it gives us a true perspective on actually how to build this thing now. So now when we actually build, we can use everything we've spoken about and actually do it. Whereas if we didn't have all this experience, it would lead to more fights, more arguments. We can't take on feedback from each other. We think the workload's too much and all this stuff. We just feel entitled like the Olivia. So
Olivia was a real person, right?
yes. Many people.
Imagine if her name was Olivia.
Her name's not Olivia, but there was a lot of Olivias.
A lot of Olivias. Just need a quick right hook.
Yeah.
They made some of those years there, like, very challenging. Not for me personally, but for him. And, like, vicariously.
But yeah, it's good. Like, I'm very grateful for them, because they made me way smarter.
Exactly.
It's very, like, now there's just easy shit. Easy shit.
Yeah. Do you have any other points there that we want to talk about, boys, of how to crush your 9 to 5?
I'm pretty happy with it all.
I think we hit every point, yeah. I think the last point we have here is extreme ownership, and we can't stress this enough. This is huge. You have to take extreme ownership of every action you make, because you are making those actions. You're an adult, right? So you have to take extreme ownership, and once you do that, it's like it's almost like freedom, because no one else to blame except you. Once you accept that, then you are truly going to be great at your 9 to 5.
Your life's in your own hands, right?
Yeah.
Put the work in.
And take on that extra responsibility. Like I remember there was a pivotal moment where time slowed down. It was like a spiritual experience for myself, where the manager actually asked me, "Do you want to replace me?" And then shit was going off in my head, man. Time slowed the fuck down. I didn't even know till this day how long I took to reply. I'm pretty sure it was only 3 seconds. It felt like a minute. I don't know if I just went blank and almost fainted for 30 seconds in front of her or something. But everything in my body was telling me don't do it. But then there's that little voice, that guy that wants to be successful. He's like, you know you have to do the hard thing. Do the hard thing and accept it. Accept the role, boys.
You know, I forgot. When I was working at, I just realized this now. I was getting paid for, I was working this other, the last job. I was getting paid for doing just the admin at this role. And I was like operation manager, and I was doing all the pay cycles and driving at the same time. Like all three of those things, they're all full-time jobs. Like, and I was only getting paid for the thing. And I was like, I realized at that point, like the lessons that I've been, like that are in this podcast and taught, like I didn't think for an extra second about it. I was just like, yep, all right, get it done. This is what we do. I was like, once you embody these things, you realize you're so much more capable than like what you've ever believed. It's like, it's always second nature. It almost is second nature, just to do more and be your best all the time.
Yeah, like people like us, what we do is like, we always say it's easy. Because if you lead into it saying, oh, it's hard, it's too hard and all this stuff, it will be hard for you because you have that negative mindset. But if you just keep telling yourself, man, it's just easy shit, you just pump it out.
Things end up just working themselves out when it's easy anyway. They don't. You put the work in, but it just gets done a little bit easier when you think it's easy.
Our parents had it hard, not us. Every generation it gets easier, boys.
I mean, do we talk about ego as well? Like, you should try and drop your ego, especially as you're going.
Yeah, you definitely need a, you
I've
gotta
noticed
detach from the
some
ego for
points as
sure.
well, because I feel like I'm probably one of the better workers at my workplace right now. And sometimes, like, the employees that I'm working with, they do say something that's actually right. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm better than you, am I right?
Yeah. That's a big one. Like, that's like judgment. Like, especially in like with us with like startups and stuff. Like, whenever you say something, you have to make sure you truly believe that. It's not your ego fooling yourself. There's always that ego that comes in like, no, I think this one's better than that one. But deep down, the successful guy in your head, because we all have multiple personalities, the successful guy's like, mate, you're only saying that because of ego. Just agree that one's better. And it always happens when someone else has the suggestion. And then we've got to know when we have a suggestion, we automatically have a bias to it. So it's really hard to have no ego to truly choose what is the best option, what is the best path for us to take. That's really hard to actually do.
I think, again, like, not just in a startup, but across the board, it's like the consistency will end up winning. It's like who is right more often, then they have a higher kind of weighting. Their voice means more. If that makes sense. So what they say.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But it's just you can get caught up in that, like,
You're
especially
100%
when you're
right.
always consistent, and then someone else isn't consistent, but something they say can be right.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be able to listen to that and actually take it for.
It's hard to trust that person who's right once in a while, right? And you're like, bro, fuck, but are you actually right this time? Or are you just talking shit again?
But that's good, G. Like, you're thinking about that stuff because that's really like proper maturity. That's what proper people actually do, is look at their own internal flaws and fix them every single day, because we all have them. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we're not
important.
perfect.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Good shit,
Alrighty,
boys.
ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute banger of a podcast. What episode is it?
24.
24. Boys, we've been doing this for 24 weeks.
Hey,
Damn. All
It's
right.
Doc's age.
Oh, yes, it is my
it's
age.
almost half a year, boys. Half a year of podcasting.
Absolutely. Make sure to please like the video, comment on it, ask us some questions. The option is always there to DM us as well if you want to know more about anything that we do. Share the video to all your friends. Click the notification bell to know when we upload. Again, thank you very much. Pack her up.
Pack her up.
Pack her up.
Pack her up. And thank you for listening.
Go follow the TikTok.